Yeah, that is a great philosophy watch to wear for this video. It is the awesome, still awesome, Casio Golfmaster GWN 1000. Putting it on. When I was about 9 to 11 years old, I used to have this friend. His name was Kevin. Great kid. Good looking. All the girls loved him. He was funny, gregarious. All the guys liked him. I just hung around him and was amazed at Kevin and how popular he was. And I felt at the time, wow, that's cool. This kid wants to hang out with me. And I did. I was jealous of Kevin. Very jealous, actually. But not for the reason you're probably thinking. No, I was jealous because Kevin came from what I would term then, maybe now, a regular family. Brothers, sisters, mom, dad. Parents still married, and they were happy. I used to go and do sleepovers at Kevin's house all the time, and I loved it because I was able to see what a normal family was like. I didn't have that. Maybe you didn't have it. Maybe you don't now. Maybe if you're a young person watching this video, you wish you had that too. This video will help you. Yeah, I was jealous of Kevin. I was jealous of his family situation, and I wished I had it. My mom and dad divorced when I was 7 years old. I grew up between them. My dad was an Air Force pilot, like I was at one time. I retired out of the Air Force. And my mom and him, like I said, got divorced early in my life, and she stayed in Alabama. So I grew up between the two of them. Really in an unusual existence, because my dad, being an Air Force officer, we had adequate money. We lived probably a middle class, maybe at times upper middle class existence. And then my mom never had too much money, maybe lower middle class, lower class existence. I kind of went between those two lifestyles. And I actually liked it. I thought it was pretty educational for me. I liked it. It made me appreciate, we'll talk more about that, all the things I had. But I was jealous of Kevin. I was jealous of his seemingly happy family. I mean, I did a lot of sleepovers. Who knows what happened when I wasn't there? It could have been a nightmare. Sometimes there's families that outwardly seem like they're normal, and then when the doors close and the neighbors go away, they start screaming and fighting. But I like to think it was idyllic. I like to think that, hey, this is how you can make a family, and there can be happiness in a family. And you can have kids that grow up having great qualities that become functioning and contributing members to society. That's what this video is about, by the way, is how to do that. And is it necessary, first and foremost, to come from a normal family? Do you have to have a mom? Do you have to have a dad there? I would say, honestly, it would help if you do. But I didn't. I was a single parent kid. I grew up between, like I said, mom and dad. And each one was completely different in their approach to parenting and pretty much in conflict with each other. And no doubt that was one of the reasons they couldn't get along. But between the two of them, I think I garnered, and I've mentioned this in probably the series Lessons of My Father, some other videos I've done, I took the best from both of them. And they are both amazing people. My mom's still alive. She's an amazing individual. I love her to death. She has so many awesome qualities to her, and I love and respect her for that. And same for my dad. My dad got killed in a plane wreck years ago. I've talked about that. It was crushing for me. I was a young man at the time. Here he was, retired Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Air Force pilot, having flown OV-10s and O-1 Bird Dogs in Vietnam, F-100s, Super Sabres, and he dies in a light plane crash. But that was crushing to me. But I think on my growing up, and I go, hey, you know, was I cheated? Did I lose out from like Kevin? Is Kevin going to become a better person than I am because he had that leg up in life, a normal family? My answer to you, TNPrs, whom I love and care for a lot, is no. Ideally, it would be great. But all you need is someone in that child's life who really, really cares and loves that child. It can be a dad. It can be a mother. It can be a grandparent. It can be a legal guardian. It can be an older sibling. But someone has to teach and instruct that child. That's what this video is about. I find myself oftentimes not watching the news. Maybe you do too. Because I just can't take it. All the negativity, the combativeness, the gnashing of teeth, the attacks on our liberties, I have a real hard time with it. And I find myself happier in a happier state of mind if I just remain somewhat aloof on what's going on in the news. We have some problems in this nation. We have big problems in the United States of America. We have, again, combativeness. And this video really will drive to the heart of how to solve that. It will be non-intuitive because normally we'd say, and this is not a political video at all, it's a family video, but it'll kind of delve into politics a little bit because it'll drive to the real solution on how to solve this. I truly believe that if children, all children of all walks of life, had someone that truly loved them, taught them some of the things I want to talk about here, we wouldn't have these problems that we do now. I think a lot of what you see of the people who are enraged in life, they're dealing with their upbringing issues. And they feel abandoned. They feel alone. They feel rejected by society. And sometimes they'll cling on to groups or movements, I think, that will give them an identity, something they never had because they didn't have a family or they didn't have someone who loved them. So if you want to cure the world, you're going to have to cure the family. If you can't cure the family, you're going to have to at least take care of the children being raised by whoever. Someone has to take a sincere, pure, I'll repeat that, pure interest in that child's upbringing, whether it be a little boy, a little girl. And that, my friends, is how we can turn this ship around and change the United States of America, where we're heading, where we are right now, to establish peace, respect, pleasantness, manners amongst all people. I read your guys' messages, and I go through as many as I can, and I'm always overwhelmed in just keeping up with the content. It's a lot of work. Doing with other things that I do, plus doing TNP, I'm maxed. And also being a dad, being a husband. That's priority to me. And then whatever spare moments I have, I do TNP. But I read your messages, and also the ones sent to the P.O. box that address or send to me questions in Nutnfancy. And I'll put the post office box up above if you want to send something in. I'll try to get to it when I can. Usually it'll be in the form of a video posted on the B channel, QTN, Questions in Nutnfancy. I'm struck by how good you guys are in parenting. I have a lot of young dads, a lot of young moms raising their kids, and they've written me and they tell me that maybe in some small way they've been inspired by what I show on camera, whether it's when the boys were younger, how we interacted, how we kid around, how we have a sense of humor, and we do, definitely. It's very irreverent, and I love that, and how we adventured together. And they took a small inspiration from that, and they attempt to do the same thing in their lives, and I want to say thank you for that. My takeaway is, I think, from the people I hear from, I think you're doing a great job raising your children, teaching your children good things, and helping cure, well, first the family and then secondarily society. So I think a lot of what I want to tell you now, you're probably already doing. I have 10 things I want to cover, and I hope you watch this video in a quiet place. I hope you can feel the spirit of when I talk to you. I think it will tell you that I'm totally sincere when I give you these things. They're for no other purpose than to help people and to help your kids and to help you. And a lot of them will not be popular according to society because, again, society is somewhat warped in their value system and what they consider is important, what they consider is correct in behavior from young people. But you're the parent, okay? And I'm just going to talk like I'm talking to a young family. But this can apply, again, to all family situations. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have, again, the guardianship of a child, I'm talking to you. And I hope to give you some help with this. I don't come in front of the camera acting like I'm some expert. I'm not. I've made a lot of mistakes as a parent. I am not perfect. I've lost my patience just like you have probably. I've yelled at my kids. I throw my hands up in the air and I go, I don't know what I can do now. I've turned left, I turned right, and at times I just didn't know how to progress out of a certain situation. So you can have a fight, everybody's pissed, and then after a while you make up and hopefully peace comes back into your house and you're back to ops normal. I think most people are that way. I hope they are. But don't think of yourself as a failure if you go through that cycle. It's normal to get angry, to lose your temper at times, to feel like you're a failure. How can I do this? It's normal. It's normal. Pick yourself back up, recommit, and try to do better. That's all you can do as a parent, is just try. Think about what maybe you did not like about your upbringing. Maybe there were things your mom, your dad, your grandparents did, whoever raised you, that you made a mental note of. And you go, I'm not doing this with my kids. I did that. I totally did that. For instance, I didn't like coming from a broken home. Getting back to the Kevin example, I was envious of his family situation. And I told myself at an early age, I want to find a woman who I can marry and stay married to forever. I don't want to divorce and do that to my kids. And I made a big commitment to myself to do that. I've been blessed 30 years later to still be married to Mrs. Nutnfancy. Oh, we've had our moments. We've had our moments where we hate each other, basically. Just being honest. But we worked through them. Just like Kevin's house, peace came back into the family and we're happy again. Those things you hated about your upbringing then, about your childhood, can serve as a catalyst for you as a parent now. What did you hate about it? And did you make a mental note? And how are you doing right now? Think back on those mental notes you made as a kid. How are you doing? Are you like your parent? Sometimes we are. We have to break the cycle. It takes effort. It takes dedication. It takes setting a goal. I'll talk about that. It takes doing to break that cycle. Going back to my childhood again, mom and dad were great. They did have faults. We all have faults. One of the things I did not like about my upbringing, bouncing between the two households, and actually, I can remember this before they got divorced, was, don't know if I've ever shared this before, but physical violence. Yeah, I can remember mom and dad beating on each other. There was violence, and I hated it. Dad was a very strict parent with us. Again, lots of great qualities, but patience probably wasn't one of them. And he would spank and sometimes use a belt on us. I didn't like that either. I made a mental note. Don't do that to your kids. I'm happy to report I haven't. I've never done that to my kids. I've spanked them, and I think that is in the parenting toolkit, but very sparingly. I find out other things to get the message across, other discipline measures. But I didn't want to go down that physical violence road, and especially with my wife, never laid a hand on her that way, ever, nor would I. My kids spanking maybe, heck, one's in his late 20s now, the other one in his early 20s. Total of, 4 times. Very rare. Very rare. Usually verbal corrections are enough. What are your mental notes you made? How are you doing? Are you turning into your mom? Are you turning into your dad? Dude, I'm going to tell you, it takes effort not to. And you have to set a goal. I'm going to talk about that, to change. And then be very honest with yourself in the mirror as a parent, as a guardian, as a mother. Say, how am I doing? Am I doing the same things that I hated when I was a kid? There you go. And on the flip side, too, there were probably some awesome things your parents did, and you should have made a mental note of that as well. And from this list I'm going to give you right now, there's some things in there from Dad. that he did and that I incorporated. Go see the Lessons of My Father, posted a long time ago, like 7 years ago here in TNP. They're still out there in the philosophy videos playlist. Let's get to it. Long intro though, huh? But it's a good setting of the stage, laying the foundation of parenting, how important it is to our society. It is the building block of society, how our children turn out. And so here are 10 philosophies off the top of my head, in no particular order, of things you should teach your kids so they can be more awesome. Again, not necessarily politically correct. And I probably discussed some in the past. Here they come. Number 1, to make awesome kids, you have to allow your children to be uncomfortable. You have to teach them they are not entitled to physical comfort. That's hard to do. It really is hard to do at times because most of us, I think, live in fairly comfortable surroundings. Think about it. I mean, did 100 years ago, did everybody have air conditioning? No. Did everybody have electricity? Nope. Running water? 100 years ago, maybe. There are a lot in rural areas that did not. Internet? Absolutely not. Video games? Absolutely not. The world at your fingertips through your cell phone? Absolutely not. And yet, this day and age, our children are constantly being bombarded by media, by whatever, electronic entertainment, about life is about being comfortable and having a good time. And that is a message of failure. That's probably the best way I can think of it. Because a person that always thinks he or she needs to be comfortable is going to feel entitled. And then when they find themselves in uncomfortable circumstances, for whatever reason, maybe it's in employment, maybe it's on outing with friends, maybe it's in, their college life, they're going to feel angry. They're going to feel put out. They're going to feel like, hey, this isn't going the way I wanted it to. It's not going the way mom and dad taught me. And I don't like that. I deserve to be comfortable. Why am I cold? Why am I shivering? Why am I hungry? And the answer to you, good parents, is you need to teach your children they're not entitled to be comfortable. In fact, it's good that they're not comfortable. It's good that they are cold. It's good that they are hungry, dirty, that they haven't bathed in 2 weeks up in the mountains. It serves to their benefit to appreciate what it's like to be clean, to be fed, to be warm. You have to have a school of opposites in your children's upbringing. And by that I mean, yes, we're going to provide for them. We're going to give them food, clothing, shelter, love, attention, all those things. But at times as parents, especially you dads, it's your job to expose your children to discomfort. Not for just a day. A couple days is fine. I've always said a good way to do this is just go backpacking with your kids. Getting back to Dad. Who did that? Dad did. He taught me that. So when I was living with him, like I said, middle class existence, but I'll tell you what, Dad made sure that he broke me out of that comfort zone and said, listen, get caught up in your studies. We're going bear hunting in the Shenandoah Mountains for a week and we're backpacking in. And those photos I've shown you are us doing just that. We lived in the mountains for a week out of a backpack bear hunting. Was I cold? Yep. Hungry? Yep. Angry at times? Absolutely. But I was 9. What do I know? I'm a little kid. I don't know what's going on. Dad did. He's exposing me to discomfort. How has that served me in my life as an adult? Oh my gosh, I can't even put a price on it. The ability to be uncomfortable and know that it's okay. That's the thing about today's generation. They think if they're uncomfortable, they're not going to survive. It's the end of the world. Oh my gosh, I can't take it. It's your job, mom, dad, grandparent, guardian, to expose them to things that are uncomfortable. Sometimes that can be through sports. I think sports is a great way to learn that. Football camp, running, getting yelled at by the coach, failing, still failing, getting yelled at some more, and then maybe accomplishing something. Pride that, hey, I was able to do this. I overcame a hard challenge. I think sports are key. I'm a little bit leery of sports and participation in sports because my children, I didn't want it to dominate their upbringing, and in that that's all we can do, because we have football, and they did play little league ball. Last suspect played soccer, I didn't want to make it a lifestyle where that's all we do, and I can't take them out shooting, I can't take them out camping, or any of those other things, whatever I want to do as a dad, because we have the team, and we did support our teams. You have no entitlement to being comfortable in this life. And it is up to you, parents, to break your children of that cycle. They're going to get a lot of attitudes of such from their friends. Maybe their friends are spoiled. They have parents who give them everything, a sense of entitlement. No, it's up to you, and figure out how exactly with your own child and his or her personality, how to accomplish that. But get them used to being uncomfortable. It's huge. And you will see later in life, I feel like in my life, how it will serve them. And sooner or later, and come to you and say, man, I'm glad you put me through that. That's cool you did that with me, Mom. That's really, really cool. Number 2. Second thing you should teach your children so they can be awesome, more or less. And I really like this one. I actually like every single one on this list. I could probably make a whole video about each one. And feel me when I say this, and tell me if this is not lacking in society. You need to teach your children to be empathetic and kind. Empathetic and kind. To understand other people's situation. To not judge so harshly, so quickly, without all the information, without all the facts. And to understand how other people feel, how animals feel. That's one reason I got Allie the mountain dog, who has passed on. We miss her greatly, by the way. It is a hole in our hearts that will never heal. It won't. But we had almost 15 years with Allie. That's pretty good. And in those 15 years, my kids learned a lot about empathy. They learned about how to take care of animals, about how to be kind to animals, how to play in nature. And that is such a key point to having empathy, is playing in nature, interacting with natural things, seeing fishes in a stream, seeing squirrels, deer. Make your children empathetic to life. To life. That goes hand in hand, by the way, with not having a sense of entitlement. That you realize, hey, I'm just a cog in the wheel. How's Joe over there doing? How's this creature over here doing? And can I improve their circumstances? If our people in our society now had a true feeling of empathy in this life, think about how great this world would be. Granted, we'll all make mistakes, and sometimes we don't mean to do so, and it seems like we're being unempathetic, rude, and oftentimes it's not the case. We're just not paying attention. We're not perfect in this, in the Nutnfancy clan. Teaching empathy, demonstrating kindness day after day. If you don't believe me, just drive with me in traffic sometime. I know. Are you that way? I try. I really try. But yes, I fall short in modeling empathy and kindness at times. But I do my best. I try to teach my boys, look at life through the eyes of others. And here's the basis, in my estimation, of kindness and empathy, something you should teach your child. Is there anything I can do to make that person's situation better? Is there anything I can do to alleviate the suffering of that animal and make that animal's life a little bit better? So service really is at the heart of that, teaching that. And, of course, modeling it as a parent. Because you can teach it all you want, but the kids can see right through you. If you're not empathetic, if you're not kind, generally speaking, again, we will all fall short, but I'm talking when you connect all the dots of your life, are you a kind person? Are you an empathetic person? The kids will see that. And guess what? If you are, they have an example. You. The other day I was walking past and this lady was trying to put this huge suitcase in the back of her trunk. And a little voice in my head said, she needs some help. It's just a little thing. Just a little thing. But I stopped doing what I was doing. We fixed the back of her trunk up. Sent her on her way. Found some people broke down in a Walmart parking lot this summer. They apparently lived in their van. They had all their belongings out. And I looked at life through their eyes. And guess what car I'm in, by the way? Right, the Vet. So I'm in this beautiful car, the Corvette, and I was parked just a few spaces from them. And none of the kids were with me. I was alone. And I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I'll just share it with you. It kind of, I guess, helps illustrate the point. And I just spent some moments with these people, and I could tell they are not of my political persuasion, to say the least, but you know what? They're still my fellow human beings. And I felt sorry for them. I said, what's going on? He's like, yeah, my van's broke, and I don't have the tools to fix it. I need a such and such wrench. I have this. My friend might have one. I'm waiting to hear. And he had the whole thing taken apart, and it's just a mess. I said, well, what could fix it? He goes, man, I just need some tools, and some parts, and I could fix it and be on my way. And I just broke out $100 from my wallet and said, here you go, bro. IHF money, by the way, from you. And they started crying. The man and the woman, they said, why are you doing this for us? I said, because you're a fellow human being, that's why. And there's no one else to help you except me, and so I'm here and I'm helping you. Sorry. It's embarrassing. Like that. How often do we go through our day and we could help the life of someone else and we choose not to because we're so self-involved? And are we teaching our children to be that way? Because again, they're watching us. Are we taking just a few moments out of our life, maybe a few bucks out of our life to help someone that truly needs it? Empathy, kindness to others, not expecting anything in return, just for kindness' sakes. That's what we should be teaching our children. That's what will cure society. That alone will cure society. That if you don't apply anything else on this list, but you teach your children and they really learn kindness and empathy, this world will be awesome. Moving on. Told you it'd be a real video. Feature length for sure, probably well over an hour, but I think you guys will think the time will go by fast. Number 3, teach your children to set and reach goals. Remember I said that in talking about parenting, that we make a mental note of, hey, I don't want to do this in my family. I don't want to be this kind of dad. Well, guess what you did? You made a goal. But what you should teach your children is to make their goals real and don't have them limit themselves. So I've tried with my boys to say, hey, listen, you can do anything you want. Anything. You have talent, you have smarts, you have an ability to work. Sky's the limit, but you have to make a goal. Because you don't want to have your children just go through life and go, yeah, maybe one day I'll do this. Maybe one day I'll do that. Do you know how many friends I have that have a ton of talent but are hugely unsuccessful? A lot. Probably you do too. Unless you set a goal, unless you have the ability to reach that goal, you will not be successful in life, says me. You have to set a goal. My life and where I ended up, I think, was a series of my goals set. I didn't learn that from my parents. Sorry, Mom, Dad. I learned it from other places. And I think we should always be open to other sources of information, just like you. You're watching this video, right? I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. But you're listening to this, and it can touch your heart, and it can effective change in you and in your children, hopefully, if it's needed. But setting a goal is so important. Let's say, I don't know, I have a goal to swim the English Channel. That's a hard goal. And probably someone who watches this video says, yeah, I did it. Awesome, by the way. You just don't jump in and start doing it. You have to work up to it. And so you have smaller goals. I'm going to swim 100 yards, 200 yards, 500 meters, 1,500 meters, 3,000 meters swim without resting. I want to get my body in shape. I'm going to eat right. All these things that will help you achieve that goal. Because what a goal will give your child is focus of energy. Focus. Because if you have your energy helter-skelter, I want to do this, oh, I want to go do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, nothing's accomplished. Have them set a goal. If they want a certain occupation, great. They have to set a goal and micro goals underneath it so they can measure their progress towards that big goal when they achieve it. Go watch my video, Living to Impress Yourself. The whole video is about that. Setting goals, disregarding the naysayers, because naysayers will always be there. Oh, you can't do that, because they're failing in life and they want you to fail so they can feel good about themselves. Have your kids set goals and then help them to achieve them. Every kid's different though. Every kid's different. And so some kids are like, hey man, I don't want you preaching to me. I don't want you to set my goals. I want you to tell me what to do. You're going to have them set their own goals. But you can encourage and you can model it yourself. Every day, well, these days not every day, but most days, I'll get out a Post-it note. I'll put like a little box next to the things I want to accomplish. That's how I do TNP. I want to go out and test this gun. I want to go out and set it up for a 500-yard shoot. I want to go do this. All these things in TNP that I got to do. It's like so many tasks. But guess what? As I go through that goal sheet that day, the days following, I check them off. And you know what happens? And this is what you need to teach your children. When you check off your goals, a sense of accomplishment and self-esteem. What you've taught your child is to achieve. And you've taught them also the feeling of accomplishment when they achieve. So when they do swim across the English Channel and they mark off that goal, how do you think they're going to feel? In some small way, like they conquered the world. If you talk to people who've done amazing feats, what do they always say? They say, well, after I did that, everything seemed small in comparison. After I sailed around the world, going and getting a good paying job seemed like a cakewalk to me. It puts things in perspective. Teach your children to set goals. If you're not doing it yourself, try it. And you'll be amazed that it'll focus your energies and you'll be more successful in life. Set goals. I got to press. Number 4, and I think you'll like this one too. Kind of hard to do at times, but I think you guys can do it. And that is instilling a sense of self-worth, self-esteem into your children. I don't know if it's fair to say that we teach this, but how we interact with our children really drives to how they view themselves. Do we call them dumb, stupid? You can't do this. You're just like so-and-so. You're a failure. Why can't you be more like so-and-so? Maybe it's another sibling. That's acidic. It's destructive. Don't do that. You want to build them up. If they're down on this level, as a parent, you want to take them up on this level in terms of realistic, not overinflated, self-worth. How do you interact with your children day to day? The biggest way that we can inoculate our children against all the attacks of society, all the hatred of society in a lot of ways, is their self-worth. Their relationship to you, dad, mom. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully you show love to your children, because that is a great way to show and instill self-worth into your children. I'm talking hugging, kisses on the cheek, rubbing their backs, talking to them, listening to their day, how'd it go, spending time with your children, telling them you love them, and genuinely showing it too by, again, physical affection, spending time with them, going out, I don't know, on lunch dates, taking them out shooting 22s, taking them camping and hiking. TNP or James Fouch, Campfire Talk. Hey buddy, sorry I had to use you as an example again. He's awesome at this. He sends me photos all the time of him being an awesome dad to his little girls. Taking them out, doing all the things I'm talking about. I take them up in the Smoky Mountains and I always congratulate him. I'm like, man, you're such an awesome dad. And those little girls will always treasure the time they had with dad. Growing up with dad and spending time with him. And that relationship to your opposite sex parents, so the little girls to their dad, the moms to their little sons, it's so important. I don't know why, and I think I read a study somewhere, it's so important to self-worth. And a lot of problems we see societally from young people really drives to that. That the child felt alone, abandoned, ostracized, and like some of the mass shooters are this way. And they really lack the skills and the knowledge of how to deal with that. And they never really bonded. They have a very low sense of self-worth, and they become very predatory sometimes in society. They become attacking in society. And I think if those children had someone just to cuddle them, a mom, a dad, and say, hey, I love you, and spend time with them, and tell them how much you care for them, I think a lot of these problems wouldn't exist. And then we wouldn't have to have active shooter kits and such to preserve lives. But unfortunately, that's where we are as a society. And I hope it will change sometime. And I hope every little boy and every little girl, sorry for the tears, it's embarrassing, but whatever, has someone to love them and to instill in that sense of self-worth in them. And I hope that you had it when you grew up, and maybe you didn't. And maybe someone was very acidic to you and how they interacted with you. And maybe there was some physical violence, emotional abuse. I regret that. And I'm sorry you had to go through that. You can overcome that, though, by, again, setting a goal, saying, you know what? I'm going to leave that in the past. It sucked. I don't know why this had to happen to me, but I'm not going to repeat that destructive cycle in my own family. I'm going to teach my children to have self-worth. I'm going to give them self-esteem, true self-esteem from mom and dad, grandparents, guardian. And then you'll find, again, that will be an insurance policy to that child's entire life, because they'll just feel it. I don't know what it is. It's almost like an armor. It's like, hey, bad day, everybody hates me, but mom and dad loves me. I know I'm valued in my own family. I can come back under my own roof, and I know that I'm accepted and loved there. And I think everyone needs that. Everyone needs that. And again, going back to the empathetic talking point, maybe you know someone, and they're not in your immediate family, but you know they're going through that. Seek to help them. Seek to help them. So maybe in some small ways that you can help them develop the self-worth. True self-worth, not fake compliments, but truly. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. No apologies. Maybe you should do it on bended knee and ask for some advice. With that person, how can I help this person? How can I help that person? And you'll be amazed. A little voice will speak to you and go do this. And you'll find that you'll make a difference in that person's life. I really love that one. Self-worth. Again, it's an armor, a shield against the trials and difficulties of life. And there's going to be a ton of them. Number 5. This almost seems like the opposite of what I've been talking about. But I think your child has to know how to do this. Let me set the stage before I jump in it, because I want you to understand the context of it. And I think guys who have watched the channel know of my heart and what I'm about, know that I'm honest in this stuff. But I believe in being empathetic, kind, serving fellow man, being a good sheepdog, helping everybody that you can. But sometimes, I made a reference to this in the last one, there's people out there that will do evil. There's people that cannot be reasoned with. We would love to go back to their upbringing again, give them hugs and whatever they needed to have that self-worth, but unfortunately we can't. And so maybe they decide to do things that are destructive to you, to your family, to society. And we see that play out every year in the United States of America, whether it's a mass shooting, whether it's a bully on wherever, a playground or something, but there's people who decide to become predatory. And I made reference to that in a previous talking point. So you need to teach your child to fight. Not PC, right? Told you there's a couple non-PC things in here. Your children have to know how to fight and how to stand up for themselves. And I'm not just talking about, the ultimate, grab a gun and do that. I'm not really... I want you to teach your children that skill. Go watch my series, 2-part series, Children of the Gun. I love that series. It turned out great. I still stand behind everything I said in that. But I'm thinking more in being able to stand up for themselves. Maybe it's verbally. And sometimes that's necessary in life, because you're just getting attacked to the degree that they have really no other choice or recourse than to defend themselves. I think taking a debate class in junior high school is helpful. Learning how to argue logically, learning a bunch about everything. History, I used to have Tactical Doodle go through the encyclopedias. He poured over them. He's like a walking encyclopedia now. He is so smart, knows everything. But it also really equips him in life to use a bunch of popular culture references, historical references, to argue a point. And unfortunately, sometimes arguing in this life will be necessary to defend what is right. I've done it in front of this camera many times. Teach your child to stand up. Sometimes you have to fight. You have to fight for what's right. You have to fight for good. Sometimes you'll have to fight for the Constitution of the United States. That is good. And you need to teach your child of the importance of that. One of the ways I did it is by teaching them about modern wars. I told the kids about World War II, the prices paid for our freedom. I'll probably talk about that in the last talking point. And I spent some time and talking about the sacrifices and sometimes how you have to get your hands dirty. You have to get down in it, into the trenches to defend what's right. So you can't always take the high ground of being lovey-dovey, empathetic. We try, but sometimes those requirements to engage in combat just fall upon us. I think your child should have some combative skills. Also to include hand-to-hand combat skills. Just knowing how to fight, how to punch, how to kick, how to do some basic stuff. They don't have to be Bruce Lee, but they should be used to rolling and tumbling. Yes, even girls. So daddies with little girls, you should teach them how to wrestle a little bit. Maybe get a little rough with them. Don't hurt them, but get a little rough. Again, we're exposing our children to discomfort, to life skills that will serve them in the future. And we don't want to raise a bunch of little daisies out in a field that when, push comes to shove, literally, they don't know what to do. It's your job, Dad, primarily, to teach them that. Should know how to throw a punch. Should know how to wrestle on the ground, do a couple holds, couple locks, couple MMA moves, absolutely, and you should know how to shoot. That's part of it. Remember, what's guiding these things is a moral system. So we're teaching our kids to know how to fight, for sure, but we're not teaching them to go out and look for opportunities to go fighting. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, hey, you have a right to defend yourself. It's a natural, God-given right to defend yourself. No apologies. You don't have to apologize for that. But guess whose job it is to teach your children that skill? Yours. Have you done it? Just do it a little bit at a time. And you don't have to make it all formal. Okay, now I want to teach you this MMA move. I mean, you can, but that'd be a little bit awkward. But just practice wrestling and some roughhousing a little bit. It's good for kids to go through that. And I think a lot of kids don't go through that. And again, if they get a little bruised, if they get a little beat up on it, I'm saying not between you and them, but maybe between brothers and sisters, it's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. I think the fights my brother and I had, and there were some vicious ones, it prepared me well. The fights I had in junior high, dude, I got in fist fights in the hall all the time. It wasn't my fault. They kept coming up, man, picking on me, and finally I just got sick of it. I was just like, all right. My dad really never took me aside and said, okay, this is how you punch. I taught myself. I was like, I just got sick of it. I was like, I'm not going to be anybody's punching bag anymore. And I started wailing on guys. Never enjoyed it. Never went out of my way to get in a fist fight. But I'll tell you what, I got to the point where I wouldn't walk away from it. Because if you did, it's worse. If you walk away and you turn cowardly, it's worse. Teach your children that. You have to stand up. Otherwise, the wolves of society go, weakness. Weakness. Time to exploit that weak sheep in the flock. Teach them to fight. Number 6, go watch my video, and there's probably some subsequent ones, called Workers Are Few. Workers are few. And man, are they few indeed. A lot of you guys through the years have told me how much you like that video and videos like it, where I talk about today's generation, across all generations actually, they just don't know how to work hard. Going back to the entitlement issue, they feel like they're entitled. Well, I don't have to work hard, I'm special. No, you're not. And there's a lot of things in our life that need to be done. We need your help. I did a video called Tradesmen, whatever it was, like the shortage of tradesmen in the United States. You should watch that. I'll link below all these videos. Please watch them. And that talks about how we can't find people to fill the trades. Pipe fitters, cement workers, electricians, HVAC workers, every type of trade you can possibly imagine is shorthanded. I mean, critically shorthanded. And I interviewed these tradesmen in the video, and I only posted some of the interviews. Maybe later I'll post the rest. Go watch what those guys are saying. They say, well, we have kids come out to the work site, and they definitely want to make a lot of money. Because they, electrician, I can make, $100,000 a year. Well, you can't starting off. Later in life, you can. When you become a journeyman, yeah. And so they have this sense of entitlement if they want all the benefits from it, the money, maybe the insurance, but they don't know how to show up on time to the work site. They don't know how to put in long hours at the work site. And so what these tradesmen told me, and they'll tell you too if you ask any of them, is I can't find good workers. I can't find any of these kids that will show up on time and put in a hard week's worth of work. They end up quitting. That's it. They just quit. They just, I don't want this. Or they don't even say anything. They just stop showing up. Don't have your kids be one of those dudes. Come on, teach your children to work. Expose them to work early and work them hard. Parents, work them hard. Don't feel bad for working your children. Again, if it's part of that discomfort talking point, double thumbs up from Nutnfancy. You want them to be uncomfortable. A hard day of work never hurt no one. My dad, when I was, 9 years old, maybe I told you the story, maybe I didn't, I don't remember. It was springtime. We lived in Virginia. Again, he's in the military. He's gone a lot, but he's home this month. He goes, hey, I'm going to send you to my friend's house, Lynn McAlpin, something like that, in Georgia, and you're going to go live with him on his farm. And I was like, what? It's like, that sucks. I don't want to do that. Live with him on his farm? Yeah, he's got a dairy farm. He's got some Clydesdales, and you're going to spend 3 months there. Oh my gosh. As a kid, I was so angry at that. And I was like, oh my gosh, whatever. And Dad shipped me off. He followed through, man. Told you he was a good dad in a lot of ways, and this is one of the things he did. So he shipped me to Lynn's farm, and Lynn was a great guy. An honorable dude. He was a farmer. He lived there with his mom. I think his dad had passed on, but Lynn was there with his mom and some other relatives. I forget who. And so Lynn said, hey, welcome to the farm. Glad to have you. Here's what's going to go down. I need your help. So from 5 in the morning until about 4 p.m., I need you to do the following tasks. And he gave me a list of chores. You got to go shovel crap out of the barns. You got to help shoe the horses. I want your help cutting the fields. Gave me a bunch of things to do. He said, after 4 o'clock, time's yours. Have a great time. And so I started working. And I didn't like it at first. I was like, holy crap, 5 in the morning, alarm going off, getting up, being a farmer, going out, slopping animals, doing husbandry. I didn't know what I was doing, but Lynn taught me. Say, hey, do this, do that. You know what? Something changed in me. I wasn't angry anymore. I actually loved it. I thought it was cool. And getting back to that self-worth thing, I derived some self-worth from it. I was like, man, I can do this stuff. This is hard, but I can do it. And I like it. I like taking care of the animals. And again, going back to the empathetic talking point, it taught me empathy to take care of your animals. Don't neglect them. That's your job. You got the animals. Take care of them. They're your responsibility. And then come 4 o'clock in the afternoon, time was mine. I'd grab a shotgun and go quail hunting. It was actually a pretty awesome summer. Pretty awesome. Thanks, Dad. Thanks for teaching me to work hard. I told this story too, I think in Workers Review. My dad, one year in Virginia, goes, hey, so you guys can have a playroom. Remember, we're like middle class, maybe at times upper middle class. He goes, you have a playroom or a swimming pool. Which one do you want? We all said, oh, we want the pool, Dad. Cool. Here's your shovel. Dad gave us a shovel. And we're like, yeah, that's funny, Dad. No, I'm serious. Start digging. I don't know if he said it exactly like that, but it's funnier telling it that way. But he was serious. My dad was serious. So we started digging for weeks. For weeks, we're digging a freaking in-ground swimming pool. Oh, and guess what? It started to rain. So it was a rainy summer that summer. And Dad, we didn't let us stay in and watch cartoons. He's like, hey, you guys need to go out and dig. So all three of us, my brother, my sister, myself, were out there digging and cursing Dad. Man, were we pissed. Like, wow, I can't believe he's doing this to us. I mean, we were so angry at Dad because we didn't have the big picture of what he was trying to do. I remember wheeling buckets of wet mud and dumping them, going back and shoveling. I mean, literally, he made us work like 7 hours a day. It was insane. At the time, I made a mental note. I was like, hey, I'm not doing that to my kids. Until I got wiser. Then I was like, Dad wasn't so dumb. After about 2 or 3 weeks, I forget exactly how long it was, Dad brought in a backhoe and he had it dug proper. We were never supposed to dig it by hand. He was teaching us a lesson. He was teaching us, hey, if you want something nice, you're going to go earn it. And hard work is how you do it. And if you work hard in life, you can accomplish great things. That was the message my dad taught me. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everything I have in life is due to your ability to teach me to work, Dad. Teach your children to work. Workers are few. Indeed, they're few. Truly, they are few. If your child knows how to work, he will stand out. She will stand out. She'll be promoted, granted more responsibility, higher pay scales, because so few people like that exist. If she shows up on time, she's good at her job, guess what? Promotion. She's awesome. She's manager of the store now. You can write your own ticket. The ability to work hard is one of your primary things you need to teach as a parent. Whew, I like that one too. Oh my gosh, every single one of these is so fun. I can make a video, and in some cases I have on each video. And again, this video is going to go long. Who cares? Number 7, you guys are going to love this. Stewardship over dangerous things. Stewardship over dangerous things. As a child, you should be exposed to dangerous things. That's right. Teach your kid how to have stewardship over dangerous things, how to operate dangerous machinery safely and competently. I'll take you back to that farm in Georgia. Yeah, that one. Lynn's farm. Great dude. I love Lynn McAlpin. Just a great guy. Now remember, when I got to the farm, I was given a list of chores, of things that were expected of me. I was going to pull my weight. I wasn't there to ride horses, go fishing, and just dink around. I was a farm worker. Work hard, play hard. That was that summer. Part of that was clearing the fields that Lynn had. And he had a bunch of acreage with his dairy farm. I just remember this multi-acre field. And it was full of weeds growing like 4 or 5 feet high. And he goes, hey, we need to clear that. And you're going to help me. And I was like, okay, how do we do this? He goes, well, we're going to use my tractor. Brings out his old beat up John Deere tractor, as I remember. Puts on the weed cutting implement on the back. He puts me on the fender of the John Deere tractor. No seatbelt, no nothing. Oh, by the way, he says, don't fall off. You get chewed up by the implement. Oh, good safety tip. Thanks, Lynn. I was hanging on for dear life. I remember that. The first time he's like, okay, this is how we do it. Go through, and he cut like 2 rows. And he's showing all the machinery, how to drive the tractor, throttle manipulation, brake, how to raise and lower the implement, how to do the turns, where to park the tractor. He does 2 rows. We come to the end of the 2nd row, and I don't remember if I've ever even told you guys this. He goes, okay, it's all you. Take it away. And I was like, what? It's me. I was like, yeah, I showed you how to run it. Run it. He jumped off the tractor. He's like, make sure you don't break nothing. Park the tractor in the barn when you're done. I want you everything cleaned up. I'll see you later this afternoon. I got to go do some other stuff. And he split. And there I am sitting on this tractor. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, guess what? I'm just going to do what he told me to. And I'd listened to what he said, and I started doing it. First thing I know, I cut a row. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Did a pivot turn like he taught me. Raised my implement, lowered it, cut another row. Next thing I know, I'm having fun. I'm like, this is pretty cool. Driving this tractor, being a farmer, not killing myself in the process. That's awesome. I cut that whole field. First day on the tractor. Took me a long time. It was a lot of work. So I parked it. Sun's starting to go down. I went long that day. As a kid, I remember parking that tractor and I go, wow, that was cool. It's hard work. Took all day, but man, it's cool to being able to operate machinery like that. And it's really cool that Lynn trusted me. He came home that night, saw the tractor was parked where he had told me to park it. The implement was put where he told me to park it. And he goes, hey, good job. Field looks good. How do you think I felt as a small kid in operating dangerous things? Right, like I could do it. Like, that's pretty cool. Again, the feeling of self-esteem and the feeling that I didn't let someone down. And you feel like you're part of the team and that you're entrusted with something that's important. And people like to feel that. They like to feel part of a team. They like to feel like that they're trustworthy. Do that with your kids. Teach them how to shoot, how to operate the gun safely, competently, how to practice with it, train with it. All the safety rules. Again, go watch my Children of the Gun series. That's a great way to teach your children self-esteem, responsibility, and how to manipulate and be masters of dangerous things. By the way, in complete contrast to today's society, society says, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. You need to keep your children away from all dangerous things. If you allow them to touch dangerous things, they're going to hurt themselves or hurt somebody. That's pure idiocy. No, and middle America, honest, hardworking Americans for generations have ignored such dumb advice. One is because they have to. Like I said, in Workers for Few, they don't have the option of going out and hiring a farmhand, but they have, a 15-year-old boy who's fully capable of running the whole farm. And guess what? Dad teaches them how to do it. How to run the combine, how to do the tractors, how to run the irrigation, how to take care of the animals. And that is Americana, pure and simple. Don't ever lose that, people. Don't. Teach your children how to operate and be masters of dangerous things and have stewardship. I love that word, stewardship over dangerous things. And that, again, stands in complete contrast to the protectionist mindset of this country. And I'm not with it at all. So I hope you teach your children to do that. And you'll find, again, this all ties back in each other, right? So it goes back to their self-esteem. They'll have great self-esteem because of it. Number 8. Love this one too. Didn't see this one coming. Teach your children how to take care of their bodies. Now, in my BOK series, Bug Out Kit series, I did mention this in Foundations or Principles of BOK, Bugging Out, that you have to keep your body in some sort of shape. I'm not saying you have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or some muscly, highly aerobic guy, no. But you want to basically take care of your body, number one, for health and longevity. Okay? Hey, I, like everybody, love eating. And there's times in my life where I put on the pounds. Sorry, it's how it is. But I always have the goal to eat better and to exercise more. That's what I try to do. And I try to model that for my children. Because I think that is a gift that keeps on giving. If you can model fitness to your children. And I'm not talking about going crazy and, just it's your whole life. But getting on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Lifting weights for 20 minutes. Doing long walks, long hikes, day hikes. Model that for your children. Hopefully you're doing it. If not, start tomorrow. Start small. You don't have to be some long distance athlete. That's not what I'm saying. But have a moderate or even higher if you can level of fitness. James Fouch, that dude runs like marathons. Yeah, his kids are probably going to see that and they're going to do the same. That is a gift. You're going to minimize heart disease. You're going to keep your body weight in check. You're going to be ready for a bug out situation if you have to do it. And as your kids get older, you've taught them this. They've maintained a good body, hopefully. And I'll just say it. Then they'll be attractive to the opposite sex and they'll find a partner more readily. It is how it is. Attractive girls will find guys wanting to marry them. Attractive guys, same thing. Girls will want to marry them. I think it's a gift, and I think as parents, we should teach them that. More importantly, we should model it ourselves. Okay, it's one thing to teach and say, hey, don't eat that. Meanwhile, I'm over there eating a bee cake. Hey, I'm not perfect. I ain't saying I am. I probably got 8 pounds around my midsection I could lose tomorrow. But I try. I remember when Tactical Doodle was a little kid, he was getting a little bit portly. And I was worried about him. I'm just going to be honest with you. I was worried for his future. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm worried about his heart disease and things like that. And so I basically forced Tactical Doodle to get on the treadmill 20 minutes a day. 5 days a week, I think, is what the rule was. And this is when we lived in Spokane, Washington. I was in the Air Force. Huge family fight about this. Mrs. Nutnfancy was not supportive. Family fights. And I held my ground on this particular point. I was like, no, I think I'm right. I want him to learn how to exercise. I want him to feel good about himself, feel that euphoria of exercising. And I want him to be my right-hand man in this family. And to do so, he's going to have some level of physical fitness. Again, bugging out, being able to deal with without rule of law. I want us to be in shape. Not crazy, not paranoid, but you got to be in shape to some level. And so lo and behold, he started doing it. I mean, he had come downstairs sometime, and I checked the numbers on the treadmill. We had a treadmill down in the basement. And I'd come down, and he's like supporting himself on the handrails and not really running, just letting the treadmill run. He'd like skip, and I was like, "You're busted, run!" And he'd get all mad, and I held my ground. I was like, "No, start all over," and I made him do it again. Again, teach your children to be uncomfortable at times. It's okay to work them hard, and I'm so glad I did. Guess who? Guess who is an avid runner that does not 20 minutes, but at least an hour on the treadmill every day? Tactical Doodle. I am not even making that up. He's actually gone too far. Like, I'll call him up and say, TD, are you on the treadmill again? He's like, yeah, dude. And he's running. I mean, he lives on the treadmill. He's skin and bones now. You guys haven't seen TD. He is skin and bones. I'm at fault for that. But I'll tell you what, I'd much rather have it that way than the other way, because it is a level of fitness. It keeps your bone mass denser. So like if you're on the treadmill and you have that shock on your bones are going to be stronger. Your muscles are going to be more ready to run, to do work. Take care of your body. I think we should teach our children that first by example, and then by moderate instruction. Don't be too preachy. Don't say, hey, you need to have a vegan diet. Mrs. Nutnfancy and myself never enforced strange diets with our kids. It won't work. You have to implement something that will last their whole lives. Eat moderately across the food groups. A lot of fruits and vegetables, a lot of grains, some meats, some starches. It's common sense. Exercise. Woo, this is fun. Where are we at? Oh yeah, totally feature length. Number 9. Man, I like this one too. I think I've made videos on it. And that is, teach your children how to adventure. Teach your children to be adventurous. How do we do that? Primarily, again, by example. By example, are you adventurous? Do you go out and do things? They're going to watch. They're going to see what mom and dad do. Do you get out of your comfort zone? Do you go out in the ocean? Yep, we do. Do you go out in the mountains? Yep, we do. Do you go out in the desert and start shooting? Yep, we do. Do you basically go out of your comfort zone to experience life? Be adventurous. Highly lacking in today's world, I think. What isn't lacking are artificial realities. So people will strap on the headset, they'll immerse themselves in some type of artificial reality, whether it's a video game or whatnot, and they'll go on a pseudo-adventure. I'm not going to say that's not fun, I'm not going to say that's not engaging, but I will say this, it's not real. And it does not translate to realness. It does not translate to reality. And it does not prepare your children for the harsh realities, sometimes, of adventuring. Adventuring takes work. Having fun in that fashion takes work. It's difficult. What I find in today's generation is they don't like work. They don't like to get out of their comfort zone. Again, going back to they feel entitled to always be comfortable. Why would I want to go backpacking? That's uncomfortable. There's no electricity out there. I'll be separated from my FaceTube page. Whatever. You have to teach your children how to adventure and force them to do that when they're young. Now, when they're 17 years old and you suddenly go, hey man, it's time to go start adventuring, you might have some pushback because they're not used to it. But if you're starting late, I say don't give up. Say, we're still doing it. You're going to leave your cell phone. You're going to go out of contact with your friends. You're going to come out with the family. And we're going to go camping. But that sucks. That's boring. By the way, my youngest is like that. He hates all of that stuff. Last suspect. I mean, for him to go out in the desert, he absolutely hates it. And that's his personality. He's been in a couple videos, but it's not like, hey, I'm going to go out shooting, testing a bunch of guns. I'm going to have a 10-hour hard work day out there setting up steel. Do you want to come? His answer is absolutely not. I'm being honest with you. He hates it. I still made him do it earlier in life. I still make him do it once in a while. He'll graduate college soon enough. Be gone. Do what you can with the personalities that were given to you. Some kids will be more open to it. Some kids will love dad and mom's adventures and want to come along. Oh, we're going camping. Awesome. Oh, you're going trail running. I want to go. Other kids won't want to have anything to do with it. Hey, you want to go trail running with me? No. Do you want to go shooting with me? No. Every kid's different. You have to just figure out an adventure that they like. That's still an adventure. That's still challenging. That still involves some level of risk and failure. Go watch my Over the Ledge series. This one, Tactical Duel and myself went out rappelling in the mountains. I taught him how to rappel. I was like, okay, I got the rappelling gear and we'll teach you how to rappel. He wasn't totally stoked. He was like, what? I don't want to do that. I was like, trust me, you'll be fine. I know what I'm doing. And sure enough, we had a great expedition, a great adventure, family adventure for TNP, but more importantly, for father and son. I just took you guys along, modeling that, having adventures. Again, an adventure requires work. It's difficult. It's not easy. And oftentimes you're uncomfortable. You know, an adventure I do seldom, I try to get out there more often, is go scuba diving. I haven't told you guys this, but I'm a little bit afraid of scuba diving. I mean, I'm in the red triangle with the sharks. I know the chance of them coming in there are slim to none, but I'm still a little bit freaked out about it. My kids, by the way, and my wife absolutely will not go underwater with me to go scuba diving. I do it alone in certain places. What? Yeah, that's the way it works. But I still do it because it's adventurous to me. And after a full day of scuba diving, I feel like, hey, I've done something. It's cool. I don't go that deep, by the way, when I'm alone. Just shallow, fairly close to shore or wherever I'm starting from. I like it. It's adventurous. And that's how I'm put together. I mean, I'm kind of an adventurous personality. Again, I mentioned personalities. Maybe your kids aren't. But model adventures. And more importantly, make family adventures together, because those are great family memories for them. It'll bond your family together. And long after they've left the house, they'll be talking about those memories. And they'll thank you for them. Thanks, Dad, for taking me on that. I know I wasn't super stoked when you took me backpacking for 2 weeks on the Appalachian Trail. I'm just kidding. Maybe you could, though. But, man, I'll tell you what, I treasure that experience now. Adventures. Then we come to the end. Number 10. Last but not least of the things you can teach your children to be more awesome, to prepare them for life, is love of freedom. Ooh, you didn't see that one coming, did you? That's right. Teach your children to love their freedom that they have been given in this country. To cherish that freedom, because it is only given to us through the spilling of blood, through combat. That's why we are a free nation today in the United States. Teach your children this history. Teach them about the sacrifice it takes to maintain this freedom and to guard it well, to defend it. And it is under attack day by day in this country. They want to destroy our freedoms. It's your job as mom, as dad, as grandparent, as guardian, to teach your kids that you've been entrusted with about the Constitution of the United States. To teach them about the people who made this Constitution. Why was it necessary? Where do we come from? What was going on before we made the Constitution? Before the United States of America existed? Is there any country in the world that guarantees the rights that we do? No. Travel. Take them to other countries. Expose them to realities of other governments. And they will come back appreciative of the United States and probably more respectful and more cherishing of our freedoms. This younger generation that you're raising is the future of this country. How they vote. What type of laws they make. Will they preserve the freedom they were given? That was passed down to them. It's this younger generation, no matter whether right now they're 2 years old or 15 years old, that will determine where this country is going. You and I will be in wheelchairs. We'll be dead. But they'll be running the country. And those lessons that you teach them now will play. Spend time reading the Constitution. Spend time reading about the history of how this country was made and how the colonists were almost overwhelmed by the British. And that this country, as it was made, is a miracle. It's a miracle, the first of its kind, to ensure that natural rights are protected through the Constitution, and that is a sacred document to be protected. Teach your children this, because again, they ain't going to get it in schools. Quite the opposite, whether it's in elementary school, junior high, high school, definitely not college. They will attack the Constitution. They will try to brainwash your children that this country is evil, that it needs to be reinvented, that it needs to be more like other countries. It needs to be more globalist in nature. Combat that in the home. That's your job, parents, to teach them. To find out what they were taught in school that day and to override it. Hey, what'd you guys talk about in school today? Well, the teacher said, this country is made by a bunch of white racists and that we know we need to overturn the Constitution. Really? Well, let's have a discussion. And then perhaps you can have a good discussion. Teach them the proper things about this country. How great the United States of America is. About the freedoms and opportunities it affords everybody. Everybody, regardless of race, creed, or culture. Everybody can succeed in this country and achieve levels of happiness you can't find anywhere else. Teach them to protect that American way of life. It takes work, it takes dedication, and getting back to that other talking point, it takes fighting. They need to know how to politically fight, to vote, to be politically active, to preserve our freedoms. To know that they just can't sit back and assume this country 20 years hence will still be a free nation. You have to teach them it's your job to protect these liberties. There are people that died by the thousands to make sure that you have these liberties and to do their memory honor by honoring them and protecting them. That's what you teach your children. That's what I taught my boys. They understand. And I would show them like Saving Private Ryan is a great movie to show your kids and illustrate the amazing sacrifices we made to preserve the American way of life. The democracy which we are. The Republic. Teach your kids about other countries in honest conversations. Ask them, did their forms of government work? Were their people happy, prosperous, free? Could they go where they wanted to? Or were they taxed, controlled, regulated, miserable, destitute, struggling to survive, trying to get out of that country? You'll be amazed at what you find out in honest study of all types of countries. Yes, the United States is one of a kind. It truly is. My dad taught us to love freedom, and he used a very memorable example for me. East Germany. My dad was there, by the way. Stationed in Ramstein Air Force Base when he was in Tactical Air Command as a pilot. He took all types of pictures of the Berlin Wall, looking down into East Germany, and he would sit us kids down and he would teach us about East Germany, about West Germany, and he would compare and contrast the two. He's like, this is capitalism, this is communism. West Germany, even in the late 60s, was thriving. It had nice cars, cafes, it was colorful, people were dressed colorfully. Then you look over the wall into East Germany, it was drab. You're like looking into, like a horror movie. Everything was black, white, dark, dusty, dirty. All the cars were old from the 1940s. You had a mined field between the two countries, barbed wire, machine gun posts trying to prevent people from escaping East Germany. You know the story. And my dad taught us this. He's like, well, if East Germany was so awesome, why were people literally dying to get out? Plotting their escape from a communist system, the misery of communism, the misery of socialism. Same thing. Teach your children about this so they can appreciate what they have. The ability to go where they want without going through checkpoints, without getting prior permission, without getting papers from the government. The ability to purchase things without rationing. My dad talked about that. He's like, yeah, in East Germany, if you want steak, you got to get a government rationing coupon. Stand in a line. How successful was their form of government? Not too. Compared to the United States, you can go to a market, you have shelves upon shelves of fresh fruit, fresh meats, breads. Amazing. You go down to a gun store and buy a semi-automatic AR-15. What other countries can you do that in? Teach them to love this freedom. It was hard fought and hard won. And it can go like that. And there is a well-financed, well-funded group of people right now that want to get rid of this form of government and make it more like that. More like East Germany. Hey, we should be more like that. We should be more socialist. We should have government have all the power. Minimize the individual, maximize the government, destroy individualism, become more globalist, teach your children about these dangers. That's your job, parents, moms, dads, guardians, grandparents, because they are the future, not us. They are the ones that are going to inherit this Constitution, this great United States of America, and they have to understand how rare and precious this freedom is, and to defend it and belong to organizations that defend it. I still belong to the NRA, no apologies. I also belong to GOA, no apologies. And I give both of those organizations my time and my money, and I vote, and I'm politically active, and I fight politically to keep this country free. I did it for 21 years as a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force as well. I served in the military, supporting the Constitution, defending the Constitution, upholding rule of law. I'll continue to do so. Teach your children that that is their responsibility, that they're inheriting this, and it's tough, and it is under attack, and it is up to them to defend it. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in that dark and dreary East Germany one year, and they're going to ask themselves, how in the heck did we get here? How did the United States become this? How are we standing in rationing lines, and the government tells us how we can travel, where we can go, what we can do, what we can say, what we can speak. That's where we're heading right now. And we headed off at the pass by teaching our children. Nutnfancy Philosophy video. 10 things you can teach your kids to make them more awesome. Thanks for sticking with me through this feature-length philosophy video. We covered a lot of ground. I think every talking point is important. Prepare them for discomfort. Teach them to be kind and empathetic people. How to set and reach goals. Give them a self-worth, self-esteem inside. Love them. Hug them. Kiss them. True affection for your children. They need that. They will get all that from you as parents. Teach them how to fight. They got to know how to fight. It's just the way it is. The ability to work hard, unlike most other people, will set them apart. Be a good steward, operator of dangerous things. That was a fun talking point, always will be. How to take care of your body. Teach them that. Very important. How to adventure, be adventurous. Also, in doing that, you can model it through play. I forgot to mention that. So play with them and show them how to play. G.I. Joe setups is what we did. Star Wars setups, Matchbox setups, and that models adventure that later in life they might go out and model for realsies in their own lives. And then finally, last but not least, teach them to love and cherish, and more importantly, protect this great United States and the freedoms that we have inherited. This is the Nutnfancy Project, a philosophy video designed, hopefully, to make the world a little bit better of a place and to instill in your children some qualities that will help them and make them awesome, awesome people. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of TNP Patreon. I love you guys. Link below. See you later.